Hey, folks, welcome to another edition of the Housecoat Chat. I got the robed housecoat on. I'm the dude in the housecoat. The dude abides. Yes, folks, here we are. Remember the scone. It is for all you people that have lost a loved one, whether it is tragedy, whatever it may be, the overdoses and drugs, the vaccine injured and whatnot, or whatever. It is your choice. That is why that scone is lit. It's also lit for me, for people who in my life that have passed on, that have been inspirational and I miss. So I just like them in their honor because, well, I am just a dude. Right, folks? Well, let's get right into it. What the heck is going on? Today is Monday. In the last few days, I've been hearing nothing about, or I've been hearing nothing but Buttongate, where supposedly some Liberal Party people in the election campaign for Mark Carney went over to a conservative convention and left buttons that say stop the steal and whatever else, trying to cause some shenanigans. Kind of like what they did, not the liberals, but whoever the people were that planted the flags at the convoy. Yes, folks, that story is true. The planted flags in Ottawa was not a organic thing that the convoy did. Yes, I recommend Alexia Levier from Rebel News. She did an excellent expose video on it, proving that it was a planted flag story, kind of like this story. And the reason I want to talk about the button issue is because before that, somebody suspended their campaign because it's tariff talk. And I don't really want to get into the tariff or Orange Man ban. But so he's silent. And why was he silent, folks? Because of the allegation of the Chinese interference. I know this is a rough subject and a subject that's supposedly taboo, and nobody in the mainstream media is talking about it, but they're willing to talk about a stupid button. But they won't, for the life of themselves, talk about the Chinese interference. Not on the scale that it should be. Like the independent reporter Andy Lee, shout out to her and others. Mark Nixon, there's a whole host. New guy Mario, love him. Um, I still have better eyebrows, Mario. I'm teasing. I like the guy, but I have to tease him for his eyebrows. Yes, he's doing a good job keeping them clean. Obviously, mine are a little bit roughed up, but I'm a donkin. Ours grow like this. Yes, I hate them. I swear they break my trimmers. Uh, thick hair on my eyebrows. Don't have thick hair. I have a lot of hair, but this hair isn't thick. But this hair is atrocious. Yes, folks, Buttongate is stupid considering what we have that's coming from another country. Yes, and they openly admit it. There is so much that people do not see, and that you could go on a thing called WeChat, which is a Chinese owned app. You're going to have to learn Chinese writing. There may be translations on it or whatever. You could translate those documents that you see online by using a program that can read the characters of Chinese letters and tell you what it says. Now, if you were to able to go over and check out WeChat and all the political things that they do on that side, they're openly encouraging for more. Why is an outside country encouraging to have people from within their country tell people in Canada to vote for Mark Carney? Yes, did you hear that, folks? Listen again. There are people inside China telling people in Canada on how to vote in a Canadian election. You can't make that up. It's just like when I witnessed Frank Vaughn show me, and I went online, and you could go find these drug sites and order your cocaine delivered to your door. Go check out a past episode of mine or go do a deep dive down Frank Vaughn. Highly recommend Frank Vaughn. He is an awesome, awesome person to tell you what it is, like it is, and his honesty and sincerity, I highly trust. Yes, folks, I do. And also, all this stuff with Carney and the stupidity of like the Chinese stuff, right? I mean, take a look who they kicked out because he said you can collect a bounty if you take away my opponent. Then they replaced him with a person who sang in the Chinese Communist choir or with the choir, dressed in a Canadian police uniform. You can see these pictures. They're online. I know I'm a dude in a house coat. I got plenty of time and all day to look at all this shit. And believe me, as a political junkie, I am overdosing, for a lack of better term. I drive my wife nuts sometimes. She's like, please tone it down. I can only take so much. And I agree with her. But I am such an information junkie and I'm blown away by all sorts of stuff. Just like that poor lady Natasha, who is an independent reporter and the police manhandled her. I mean, that's a sidebar. Disgusting behavior by the police in Montreal, considering what was happening to her beforehand, and you guys done nothing. Shout out to Daisy Media, same thing. The police can't find the person that's wearing a dishcloth around his face and only has a slit for eye. I mean, if our government and the police, or correction, if the government would allow the police just to do its job on the grounds of the basis of the laws that we have, we wouldn't be having this problem. But we have too much interference from our political institutions, specifically the Liberal Party at this moment, because after 10 years of power, they pretty much filled every position they have to keep a control of it, including the Senate. That's another story in itself, folks, but I do not like what Justin did, and he stacked the Senate like he stacked the judges. He stacked them. And that's why we have the issues that we have of crime and everything else. That is just atrocious. I mean, I'm trying to look at my camera because, eye contact, right? But bear with me, folks. It is horrendous to catch and release. And just think today, and I'm pretty sure it might have been yesterday, Pierre Polyev says he would use the notwithstanding clause to keep people behind bars if they murdered more than three people. I'm pretty sure that is what the statement basically said. And it's alarming to see that people are saying, no, we shouldn't do that. I'm sorry, but if that person murdered three people, there are at least three families and a lot of friends and relatives around those people that are going to miss those people dearly. And the perpetrator, the idiots that did this, deserve punishment. That is what's truly lacking in this world. The only punishment the government gives out is the lawfare for the people that are speaking out against the government. If you can't see that, you may not agree with the whole host of people that are in this world. I mean, let's go outside this country and look at Tommy Robertson out of the UK, the Tate brothers, very outspoken people. People want to climb them up. I say let them speak. Why? Because you can know who the assholes are, right? That's what the beauty of free speech is. If you compel people to speak a certain way, you're never going to learn who the assholes are, and it's going to be too late till you do, right? That is simple as that. You know who to look out for and what to watch for. And if people, like you look at Pat King, you look at Tamara Litch, Chris Barber, a whole host of people, Tom Mazzaro, I'm sorry if I butchered your name, all these people in the Freedom Convoy and everything else that are still being targeted. I mean, the longest mischief trial is 3 years of 10 million and counting. Countless court cases have been thrown out of the way to make way for this political hay. And that's all it is. Just hay. They're just throwing it everywhere. And, it's nothing concrete, nothing that is going to change except it chills people, right? Because, oh no, if I act out, I might get the same treatment. That's what the government wants. But what the government fails to realize is that if you keep people pent up for too long, viva la revolution. That's right, folks. That's what can happen if you keep people pent up. How many times in this country alone, in Canada, have we had our politicians basically say, oh, let them eat cake, like the old Queen of France? What happened to her? I don't know. Uh, Something about a head rolling, right? You know what I mean? This is just dangerous precedent and everything else that we have going on. And the election stuff is in Canada is a bit of a joke, right? I mean, I've got stuff coming out being told to me and shown to me about what happened in the election in BC, and I don't really want to get into too much detail on the BC election thing, but the final report is not out. It was supposed to be out, I believe, by the end of February. It is the middle of April. Shout out to Shareware, a host of other people that I can't think of off the top of my head. So remanded on X. Yes, folks, you can find a lot of these people that I talk about on X because that's the only social media I use YouTube, but that's just a video sharing platform. That to me is where it's at because boom, I get information quick and I actually get a better picture of a story than I do from CBC, CTV, Global, the host of papers, the National Post, the Globe and Mail, the Toronto Star, the Calgary Sun, the Calgary Herald, even the local Vanderhoot paper, whatever you want to call it. It don't matter. Just not enough, and it's just you know. Thankfully, we have the internet because if we did not have the internet and the count and all the powers to be in the government, we would have no say at all, in my opinion. Thankfully, we have the internet where people can raise their voices and no to Mark Carney for saying he would like to have more censorship. Whoa, my goodness, folks. I mean, it's just like what I heard today from the lady that's supposed to be the watchdog for the election, trying to tell you that if you see things that look like disinformation, misinformation, and these are the signs to look for, like if it gives you an emotional response, I think anybody in the arena of politics, when you're on one side and the other, when one side says, well, I like bacon cheeseburgers, and the other guy's like, well, I just like a plain burger. Well, they're going to hate each other. It's a stupid analogy, but that's basically what it is. You're going to get a strong emotional response. You like cheeseburgers? Gross. I like hamburgers. You don't like meat without cheese, right? That's the kind of logic that people are using in politics, and we're seeing it daily, and it's only getting dumber. My God, I mean, you take a look at the people that are trashing signs, whether they're conservative signs, liberal signs. I'm seeing more liberals trashing the conservative signs than I do of the conservative trashing liberal side. But both sides can stop trashing the other side. It's just like protesting, folks. You can protest in Canada. All you have to do is do it peacefully. If you need a parade permit, so to speak, go get your permit so that you can do it legally, lawfully, and do your protest. Right? It's similar, but unfortunately, politics and everything else that's going on it's really a shit show. I mean, Idiocracy, the movie, I think it's almost 20 years old. It could be a little older than 20 years, but that movie has proven to be true. It's like 1984 at Idiocracy, and we have reality. Oh, and it's not a good picture, folks. It is. Yeah. I just digress, and I'm looking at my list in here to make sure that I'm trying to stay on topic, and I did talk about China, a little bit about the tariff and stuff like that, and the election vandalism and stuff I also talked about. And what else did I want to talk about? Oh, yes, let's get back to the called all around our election and listening to Mark Carney talking about Trump, how he says he wants this, he wants that, he wants this. Now we have to go back a ways, and people are gonna. Most of us have a short attention span that are out there in the world. We have so much information bombarding at us at like a 15-second click rate, right? Every 15 seconds is something new, different, right? And it's supposed to get a reaction out of you. And then you quickly lose interest in the thing that was about 5 minutes ago. But every 15-second clip, that's 4 clips in a minute. So, that's like 20 different things just passed your mind in 15 or 5 minutes. And so we lose perspective of what's going on. Now back to Trump. When he first took office, he did say, "How you do? What you doing, buddy?" My cat guy. He's in the yard. We're in the office. So he's taking all these conversation he's had, and he's listened to a lot of people while he was running for election, and a lot of people said fentanyl is killing too many people. It's coming across the border from Mexico, and it's coming across the border from Canada. So he's starting to do something about it. He's already opened up and said, if you guys don't deal with the border, you're going to get a tariff. Even Mark Carney admits that the fentanyl tariff is still here. And what did the government do of Canada? We appointed somebody who is the border fentanyl czar. And raise your hands if you heard anything. I haven't really heard anything from that guy. I heard Mark Carney speak briefly on it, but other than that, everybody just keeps hammering. Oh, he's hammering us with the tariff. He's hammering us with the tariff. What I love about what's going on at this moment is the dude that's Orange Man bad that everybody hates and stuff is playing chess with y'all, especially the Canadian government and a host of others. Everybody's saying that he's doing a bad job, but guess what? After announcing all these tariffs, 70 plus countries have reached out and said we're willing to make a better trade. The American government is $36 trillion in debt. They can't keep this up. They have a super bloated military budget, which I love. Why do I love it? Because it protects my ass as a Canadian. My neighbors right beside me is basically like having, I'll say it, the Hell's Angels right beside me. You don't poke them, but you know what? If you're a good neighbor with the Hell's Angels, so to speak, they will look after you. And what does Carney say? The relationship with the United States is over. So from the first day that Columbus showed up, and all the history that we have of this wonderful continent of North America, one man who hasn't been living in Canada for over a decade almost is now saying our relationship with the United States is over. If anybody is fear mongering the public, it is Mark Carney. And to give Pierre Polyev some shade and some, oh, slapping, I guess, is that step on the frickin' gas. Yes, Pierre, step on the gas. You need to crank up the rhetoric towards the liberals. You guys, I mean, my God, you're so scared of trying to lose the middle ground, but you have the jugular. You guys do. And I know it's unfortunate the NDP and the Bloc Québécois have repeatedly stopped any kind of confidence vote that happened over the last while. Politics is a messy, dirty game. And I really think Pierre and your team should crank it up because, my God, Mark Carney has a temper. Mark Carney is a liar. You read his book. I'm getting his book tomorrow. If I pick up the book tomorrow, my next video, I will show you it if it's available at my library because I am not going to give that guy a penny of my money to read his book. From what I understand, he is mentioned in this book. Karl Marx's name 40 plus times. And he downplays the great economics of the world, economists of the world who were pure blooded capitalists, basically, downplaying their contribution to society. And I have to ask you something. Since Karl Marx started communism, so to speak, and it started in Russia, so to speak, how's that country doing since then? And then ask yourself how the capitalistic society of the United States has been since its inception, how many years ago? Who has the better system, communism or capitalism? I know I don't really want to be serious with my talks because I like to laugh and do a whole host of other things. But my heart and my mind is telling me that if I don't really say something and speak up, even though I got two good loyal listeners or three, my wife and my parents, hopefully there'll be more. I apparently picked up a subscriber. I don't know if they actually watch anything, but my show is near the 20-minute mark, and I'm going to try and wind it down, get back at the American thing. If the Americans don't clean up their trillion-dollar debt problem, they will implode, which means our greatest protector, since we have no military, will implode, and the likes of the world where the Chinese and the things out of the Middle East are going to spread even worse. For all the faults the Americans have in their leadership and everything else, you have to remember they were protecting us, they were helping us, and yes, we returned the favor in 9/11 and blah, blah, blah. And there's a whole host of things, but people put your emotions in check when you hear anything about Trump and realize that he is working for America. America needs help now or it's going to implode. If America implodes, what do you think is going to happen to Canada? Think on that with logic, not emotion. Take Orange Man Bad out of the picture and just think what would happen. Because our military is next to nothing, folks. And if they implode and they can't function, then what are we going to do to defend ourselves? What's going to happen to our healthcare that's already the shit as it is? What are we going to do? I have to say that at this moment, I'd rather be a 51st state than to listen to the current state of politics in this country and the way it's going. I absolutely despising it all. And it's sickening because as a person on disability, I have yet to hear any political party say what they were going to do to help us out. Everybody is talking about Orange Man bad and hiding behind walls and everything else. So I think I will end it there. Just remember, folks, no matter what you think, the Americans have been our friends for years. They will always be our friends. Let's hope Mark Carney doesn't get in to end it, because if he does, you will quickly lose, very quickly, all of you and me. So, on a positive note, everybody out there, positive vibes. Remember the scone. That's for you and me to remember the loved ones that have been in our lives. And if you have a moment in your life, please go to an SPCA. You don't have to adopt when you go there. Just go look and see if a fur ball connects with you, and maybe you'll go home with one. That's all I ask. Be kind to one another. Positive vibes, folks. Take care.